Our previous lesson initiated us to administrative and temple towns that could be found in medieval India. So now let us zoom in on one temple town that could be found in medieval India. So let us now embark on this voyage and explore the medieval temple town of Hampi. Allow me to show you a video and introduce you to a very famous personality in history.
Nothing for nothing.
Few people of Vijayanagar were jealous about Raman, as he was very close to the king. One among them was the fruit vendor Somu. One day, Raman came to his shop.
Hello Raman, welcome. How are you?
I am fine. How do you do? How is your business going on?
Very well, Raman. Would you like to buy some fruits?
Somu wanted to trick Raman.
Yes, the fruits are looking quite fresh. I would have some of these bananas.
Sure, Raman. Take these ripe ones.
Thank you, Somu. But what's the price?
Price? For these bananas? It's nothing, Raman. You take as many as you want.
Wow! The bananas are very tasty. Thank you. Bye, Somu.
Just wait, Raman. You did not pay me the price.
But you said the price is nothing.
That's right, Raman. I want you to pay me that nothing.
Raman realized that Somu is playing a trick on him. He thought for a while and took his empty bag.
Tell me, what is in this bag?
There is nothing in this bag.
Well, then this is the price you asked for. Take it, Somu.
Somu felt ashamed of his foolishness.
So I'm sure that you must be very familiar with Tenali Ramakrishna. Tenali Ramakrishna, or Tenali Rama as he was popularly known, was a very witty and humorous person in the court of one king. Now will you be able to tell me which king I am referring to in this regard? Tenali Rama was one of the Ashtadikgajas in Krishna Deva Raya's court. So the person or the king that we are referring to in this regard is Raja Krishna Deva Raya. Raja Krishna Deva Raya ruled from 1509 to 1529, and it was during his rule that the Vijayanagar Empire reached its zenith of glory, or reached the height of its glory. So Raja Krishna Deva Raya presided over the Vijayanagar Empire at its pinnacle. Here you can see a modern day statue of Tenali Rama, and here you can see Raja Krishna Deva Raya. Now Raja Krishna Deva Raya was one of the most prominent rulers who ruled under the Vijayanagar Empire. And he was a true art connoisseur, which is to say that during his rule, art, literature, culture flourished to a great extent. Now he in his court was surrounded by the Ashtadikgajas. Now do you know who were these Ashtadikgajas? Now Ashtadikgajas literally translates to Ashta, Dik and Gajas in Sanskrit. Ashta means 8, Dik means direction, and Gajas means elephant. According to Hindu mythology, 8 elephants hold the world in 8 directions, which is why Raja Krishna Deva Raya was also surrounded by the Ashtadikgajas in his court. Now who were these Ashtadikgajas? These Ashtadikgajas were 8 learned men, court poets and scholars who surrounded Raja Krishna Deva Raya. And Tenali Ramakrishna, as a court poet, a thinker and a jester, was also a part of these Ashtadikgajas in Raja Krishna Deva Raya's court. Now you must be very fascinated with the history of Raja Krishna Deva Raya and these Ashtadikgajas. Now a very important question that must be coming to your mind is that what was this Vijayanagar Empire? As in, who founded this Vijayanagar Empire and where was it geographically located? So now let us plunge headlong into the history of the Vijayanagar Empire and find out why it is important in our discussion. The Vijayanagar Empire was founded by two brothers by the names of Harihara I and Bukkaraya I. These two brothers belonged to the Sangam dynasty, and in the year 1336 they founded the Vijayanagar Empire. The Vijayanagar Empire has been one of the mightiest and one of the most powerful kingdoms that ruled in the southern part of the Indian subcontinent. Here you can see a map of the present day India, where the area that is marked in pink shows you the extent of the Vijayanagar Empire. And this Vijayanagar Empire was founded by the brothers Harihara I and Bukkaraya I. Now, any discussion on any empire or any kingdom will remain incomplete without taking into account its capital city. So now it is imperative on our part to find out more about the capital city of Vijayanagar Empire, that was the medieval temple town of Hampi. Now, before proceeding with our lesson and finding out the history of Hampi, let me ask you a question. The Vijayanagar Empire was founded in, and here's a blank, and you are to fill in this blank with the correct answer. Was this empire founded in 1548, 1336, 1339 or 1280? Well, this empire was founded in 1336 by Harihara I and Bukkaraya I. Now let us find out about the history of Hampi. Now you must have understood by now that the medieval temple town of Hampi was the capital city of the Vijayanagar Empire. Hampi is located in the Krishna Tungabhadra basin. On this map of India, you can locate Hampi, and it is located in the Krishna Tungabhadra basin. The Krishna Tungabhadra basin is a very fertile area. It's a very fertile tract of land where is located the capital city of the Vijayanagar Empire, that was Hampi. Now Hampi is now located, as in present day it is located in the state of Karnataka. So now let us explore the history, the very fascinating history of Hampi. Hampi is known for its spectacular architectures. Surrounded by the Tungabhadra river on one side and mountains on three other sides, Hampi is a very beautiful city. In fact, all these things, as in the river and the mountains, offer a very scenic backdrop to its spectacular architectures. Architectures are absolutely marvelous, and you should make sure to visit Hampi sometime, because Hampi is a place where you can find many forts, palaces and temples, to be very specific. Since we are discussing about the temple town of Hampi, it goes without saying that it is a place where many temples are located. That is to say, Hampi is a city that includes within itself many splendid temples. And among those many splendid temples, mention must be made of the stone chariot and the Virupaksha temple. There's a few of the architectural marvels that you will find in Hampi. But when we have to talk about Hampi, the most important thing that we have to keep in mind is that Hampi was not just important only as a temple town. It was also very important from an economic perspective. Now, when we take into account these temples that could be found in Hampi, we should know more about the details of these temples and how these temples were constructed. So let us now find out more how these temples were constructed in this medieval temple town of Hampi. Chronicles of foreign travelers testify to the power, the beauty and the fame of Hampi, because it is from their writings that we get to know more about the history of Hampi. Foreign travelers whose records serve very important in the sense that they tell us more about the history of Hampi would be Niccolo de Conti from Italy, Abdur Razzaq from Persia and Domingo Paes from Portugal. So from the writings of these foreign travelers, we get to know more about how wealthy and famous this medieval temple town of Hampi was. Now, given that it was a very important temple town and Vijayanagar Empire was also very powerful when it was ruling the southern part of the Indian subcontinent, it is necessary that its capital city should have been very well fortified. That is to say, its capital city must have had a very good defense system. Now, from where do we get to know about the defense system that was in place in Hampi? For this, we have to rely on the Hampi ruins. And these Hampi ruins reveal that the city was well fortified. Now, it goes without saying that any capital city during those times was very well fortified, because without having a well fortified, a very well protected and defended capital city, that empire or that kingdom was prone to being attacked. That empire was prone to threats from different other kingdoms, which is why Hampi, as a powerful capital city of the Vijayanagar Empire, was also very well fortified. Now, allow me to tell you something very interesting when it comes to the construction of these walls that could be seen around the city of Hampi. Now, you must have seen the construction of any building around you. What have you seen? For the purpose of construction, bricks are required. And how are these bricks put together? These bricks are then held together by something called cement. But I'm sure you must be very surprised to know that the walls that were erected to protect this beautiful and mighty temple town of Hampi were built without any cement or any mortar. Now, how were these bricks and stones put together? Because no mortar or cementing agent was used in the construction of these walls. Now, how were these bricks and stones standing tall? And how are these bricks and stones standing tall even today? Because Hampi has not completely been ruined. You can see many Hampi architectures even today and they stand tall. They are very magnificent and they have stood the test of time. But these walls were built without any mortar or cementing agent. So what was the method that was implemented for the construction of these walls? These walls were erected by a process called interlocking. Now, what is interlocking? In this process of interlocking, these bricks and stones are just interlocked without the help or without the use of any binding agent. Now, isn't it a very fascinating thing to know about the beautiful and magnificent temple town of Hampi? Because all these walls that protected the city of Hampi were built without any mortar. These bricks and stones were just put against each other, and in this way they have stood the test of time. In this way they have survived so many years. They have survived the calamities of nature as well, as in earthquakes, floods. They have survived the winds and other processes of weathering. And it is this very fascinating detail, that is this process of interlocking, that has kept all these walls together for so many years, and not just years, for so many centuries. Now, it goes without saying that Hampi as a temple town included within itself many temples. What did we learn in our previous lesson? From our previous lesson, we got to understand that temple towns were places where settlements grew around temples. And as a major temple town in medieval India, Hampi also had many temples within its territory. Now, these temples were the centers or the hubs of activities which were not related and restricted to religion alone. These activities were further extended to the scope of culture, economy. So, these temples were the hubs of cultural activities. These temples were also the hubs of social and economic activities. Now, a very important question that must be coming to your mind is that what kind of cultural activities took place in the city of Hampi, as in inside the temples that were there in Hampi? For this, we now have to devote our discussion to the Devadasis. Now, who were the Devadasis? The Devadasis were female temple dancers who devoted their lives to worshipping the deity in the temples. Now, how did these Devadasis offer their devotion to the deity in the temples? For this, the Devadasis performed before the god. So, the Devadasis indulged in dance performances that were offered as a kind of devotion to the gods. And these dance performances of the Devadasis, you will be surprised to know, happened within the mandapas and the pillared halls that were there in the temples. So it must be very interesting to even imagine how beautiful these performances must have been, because these Devadasis performed before the deity, royalty and the masses in the many pillared halls in the temples. Now, during the times of festivals, the royalty came to pay their respects to the gods in the temple, and it is there that they gathered. And before the royalty and the masses who also gathered in the many pillared halls in the temples, the Devadasis offered their dance performances, and these dance performances were very good. These dance performances were absolutely perfect. So this is also a very fascinating part of the history of Hampi. Now, these temples included within themselves many royal complexes, and these royal complexes had splendid arches, domes and pillared halls. These were very elaborate and ornate. These are very beautifully crafted, and in this image you can see how intricately these pillared walls are worked upon. And on these pillared walls you can see very beautiful engravings. So these pillared halls that were built in Hampi during this medieval period still exist even today. So make sure to visit these pillared halls on your next trip to Hampi. And along with this pillared hall, they also had niches for holding sculptures. So the art of making sculptures also evolved and emerged around this time. The walls of these temples and beautiful buildings in the royal complexes also had different motifs. Beautiful motifs in the form of lotus and corbels. So pillared halls, splendid arches, domes and these sculptural motifs are something that you will be able to visit when you go to Hampi. Another point that we tried to establish in our previous lesson is that these temple towns were not important only from the point of view of religion, because in these temple towns, with the growing and emergence of settlements, traders also came to these places. And when these settlements were growing, when lots and lots of people from different parts of the Indian subcontinent were coming to settle in these temple towns, traders and merchants were also coming here by seeing the prospect of trade and economic growth. Which is why these temple towns emerged as important not only from the perspective of cultural activities but also from the perspective of economic activities. That is to say, these temple towns became the nucleus of cultural, social and economic activities. Trade activities were carried out in these temple towns. Now, when did Hampi become an important trading center? It was during the 15th and the 16th centuries that Hampi became an important trading center under the Vijayanagar Empire. Now, an important trading center must have certain products and goods that are traded in that region. Now, which are the products and items that were traded in Hampi? It were cotton, spices, Persian horses and various other items that were traded in Hampi during this time. Another question that logically follows this is that who were the people who performed trade activities in Hampi? Because trade activities cannot be performed or cannot be done by any random person. Because in order to continue trade activities, be that in any region, any kingdom, you need to have proper trading communities. Now, who were the trading communities or which trading communities traded in Hampi? It were the Muslim merchants, chettis and agents of European traders such as the Portuguese who thronged the markets of Hampi. So it were the members of these trading communities who performed trade activities in Hampi. India is a land of religious and cultural diversity, because in India one can find harmonious coexistence among members of different religions. Now even within a same religion, some festivals are also celebrated with their own cultural variations, and one such festival is the Mahanavami festival. The Mahanavami festival is presently known as Navratri in the south, and this was one of the most important festivals that was celebrated in Hampi. Now let me tell you a little more about the Mahanavami festival. According to Hindu mythology, this Mahanavami festival is a 10-day long festival, and this festival culminates into the 10th day, on which day it is goddess Durga in her avatar of Mahishashur-Mardini who defeats the demon Mahishashur. Now this is one cultural variation of the Mahanavami festival that is celebrated with great fervor in different parts of the Indian subcontinent. Along with this, in different parts of North and Central India, this festival culminates into Dasera, which takes place on the 10th day. Now this Dasera celebrates the victory of Lord Rama over the 10-headed demon Ravana. So you can see how one festival within the same religion has different cultural and different territorial variations. This speaks to the cultural diversity of India. Now festivals of any kind foster and strengthen community feeling, foster and strengthen we feeling, because it is during the times of festivals that the entire country is lit up. It is during the times of festivals that pandals are set up in different places, and alongside these pandals there are fairs and small markets. So festivals are a time of great merriment and enjoyment, and these foster community feeling as we just mentioned. Festivals have always played a very important role in shaping the diversity and the plurality of the Indian subcontinent, and it is the Mahanavami festival that was celebrated with great fervor in Hampi. Now this festival assumed a great celebratory note under the rulers of the Vijayanagar Empire during the 15th and the 16th centuries. Now from where do we get to know about the celebration of this Mahanavami festival that used to happen so many centuries ago? For this purpose, archaeologists have found many information from the sites in Hampi, from the archaeological sites in Hampi itself. Now let us find out about one very important information that archaeologists have provided us with. Archaeological findings tell us that there was a Mahanavami platform, and on this Mahanavami platform the king used to come and receive guests and accepted tributes from subordinate chiefs. So can you imagine how fascinating it must have been to gather this information about this Mahanavami platform? Because this Mahanavami festival that was celebrated with great fervor during the Vijayanagar Empire's rule happened so many centuries ago. And without archaeological findings, we will not have access to any information on what happened at that time. So it is for this reason that the studying of history is also very important and fascinating at the same time. And so from this lesson we got to know a very important festival that was celebrated in Hampi, and this very important festival was the Mahanavami festival. All this while our discussion was devoted to tracing and understanding the glory of Hampi. Hampi was a very important temple town, and along with being a very important temple town, it was also a hub of cultural and economic activities. It was also a place where intense trade activities took place during the 15th and the 16th centuries. But this is just one side of the coin, because in the year 1565, this magnificent city of Hampi was destroyed by the Deccani Sultans. The Deccani Sultans of Ahmednagar, Berar, Bidar, Bijapur and Golconda. So the Deccani Sultans who belonged to these places now invaded Vijayanagar Empire and they defeated Hampi. With this, we come to an end of our discussion on the medieval temple town of Hampi. Now Hampi, as we got to know, was destroyed by the Deccani Sultans in the year 1565. But this defeat of Hampi does not mean an absolute end to this magnificent temple town, because it still stands tall even today, and it still has many temples within itself that are standing intact. Because of this reason, Hampi today is a World Heritage Site, and in fact, UNESCO has referred to Hampi as an austere grandeur site. An austere grandeur site that still contains the remains of around 1600 pieces of architecture. Can you imagine how many architectural pieces were there in Hampi when it was in its full glory? Because after so many centuries, there are the remains of 1600 architectural pieces. Architectural pieces in the likes of palaces, forts, temples, gardens, tanks, and so many things have survived even today. In today's world, Hampi is a city that offers visual treat to its visitors, and along with that, it offers food for thought for historians and explorers alike. But with this, we now come at a juncture where certain questions are coming to our mind. In our previous lesson, we discussed the administrative and temple towns, and in this one, we focused on one temple town in great detail. But the most obvious question that you must be questioning is that how did these temple towns come into being out of nowhere? That is to say, what made medieval India a fertile ground for the emergence of towns? In our subsequent lesson, we will try to find answers to the questions that we are raising here. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon. You can also register for free at DeltaStep.com or download the DeltaStep app to learn one-to-one with our amazing teachers or to get access to all our 5,000 plus amazing videos as per your school syllabus. Master each topic with our adaptive practice technology. Get million plus questions with step-by-step solutions and unlimited mock tests. Get all your doubts resolved instantly. Learn via games and win amazing prizes like PlayStations and iPads. So at DeltaStep, learning is not just fun and easy, it's rewarding too. So register for free now.